You hear Dave Ramsey and Suze Orman give you specific advice on how to conquer money and get out of the rat race. But sometimes this advice comes from people who are far away from the real American, struggling with debt, making 50K a year, and living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to give advice when you have been a multi-millionaire for more than 10 years. But in this video, I will give you specific advice which is more down to earth and logical to follow, so you can get out of the rat race and into a more peaceful state with money. So stay tuned. Hi there, my name is Jaime Shekaiban and I welcome you to my channel, The Foreigner in America, where I teach locals and foreigners everything they need to know about producing money, keeping the money, and multiplying it, specializing in the markets, real estate, and businesses. So if you're someone like myself who loves money and wants to be successful and free, please subscribe to this great channel and hit that bell so you follow up on my 2 weekly videos. Also check out my blog, Instagram, and social media under the same channel name. And take a look at my book, which is a solid read. And I will leave a link below for you to check out. So without further ado, let's begin. When you hear a big name like Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki, or Suze Orman, you know they're going to talk about money, specifically personal finances to people who are broke. These people made a name for themselves after struggling with debt, bankruptcy, and failed businesses. So they came from the bottom and are now at the top, giving advice, which is great. But sometimes you stop and think, man, you've been a multimillionaire for 10 plus years. You live in a $30 million home and drive a $500,000 car, and you're giving advice to a person making 30K a year? There's quite a disconnect there. That is why you get some stupid advice like buy a house with a 15-year mortgage, or 25% of your take-home pay, or buy a car in cash. They sound great on video, but in reality, just 5% of the people do it because it's close to impossible. Or the best of all, stay home 24/7 and never step a foot in a restaurant or a bar or see your friends ever for years and years until you get out of debt. Great advice, huh? When you are out of debt, you might want to go back to them and ask them how to get new friends, since the ones you had already hate you. Allow me to give you specific personal finance advice to get out of the rat race and stop living paycheck to paycheck, which I compiled from things that do make sense from the experts and added a touch of my own. So let's begin. Number 1, stop buying on Amazon. I don't care if you find a deal. I don't care if it's slightly cheaper than at the store. I don't care at all. Whatever you find on Amazon, you can find it at the store. So delete the app, don't even see it, and get tempted to be scrolling over the new things that came out just for you. You don't need clothes, you don't need gadgets, you don't need anything new. You need to save money. Number 2, hide your credit cards. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying destroy your credit cards or cancel them. I'm just saying put them in a drawer where you won't access them in some time. You don't need credit cards when you don't have money. They will make you dig a hole which very few people come out. Credit cards are for people with money. If I have $5,000 in the bank, I want to buy a $3,000 TV. I pay with my credit card. I transfer $3,000 from my checking account to my credit card, and done. It's paid off, and then I get the rewards. That's the use of the personal credit card. It's not your personal bank to borrow money at a 20% interest. Number 3, automate your savings. I don't do this because I always have money at the end of the month to save. But if you don't, then it's better to start the month with the savings part automated. If you first spend all the money and then save what's left, there won't be anything left. And you can go like that year after year until turning 65 and not having a single dollar on your name. You don't want that to happen. First you save, then you spend what's left. Number 4, buy a car you can pay off in 36 months or less. Let me tell you something interesting about your car. Your car is a representation of how well your finances are doing. That is the reason why not many people can afford to buy Ferraris, Lambos, and Porsches. The problem is that car dealerships have partnered with banks to do the same ugly tricks on people to make them feel they can afford more car than they can and that they deserve it. 50 years ago, you didn't see a 22-year-old in a BMW unless they had a rich dad or they had a business which was successful. If you were an employee making 50K a year, you were not driving a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi. You were driving a used Nissan Sentra. But very smart people convince the average American to get a credit card and use it as their personal bank at a 20% interest. And also very smart people convince the average American they deserved a brand new BMW because it was only $700 a month for 84 months. If your income is 30K a year, your car should reflect that. If it's 100K, your car should reflect that. If you have debt, your car should reflect that. If you rent, if you live with your parents, if you owe money to banks, if you lost your job, everything that happens in your life should be reflected in the car that you drive. Whether you want to pay cash or not, that is not the important thing here. It's just not keeping up with the Jonases. If I want to buy a 2023 Porsche Taycan Turbo S, which is like $200,000, my personal finances should reflect that. You have the money to show off the car, not the other way around. You don't show off the car to pretend you have the money. When I make $500,000 a year and have no debt, then I'll get a used Taycan. Number 5, a house is not a mandate. Get it when you're ready. This country is funny in the way that everyone thinks the American dream is to get married, buy a house, buy a car, have a baby and a dog, and retire when you're 65 in the suburbs, mowing the lawn for fun on the weekends. The American dream is to build and buy a business which creates value to many people. You automate it or sell it, and then you're free to do whatever you want with your time. If you choose to work a job, it's for money. But you don't need the money. It's just for fun. When society puts pressure on you as you grow older, because you haven't gotten married, you're still renting, if your car is ugly, etc., you start making very poor decisions. The problem is people love to hear you're doing poorly, but they hate when you're doing well. If you tell someone you're living paycheck to paycheck, they will love it. They will relate to you, and some will even offer to help, which most likely they won't. If you tell them you created a business and you're rich and free, you automatically get hate from all over the place. Poor people want other people to be poor as well. The problem is that buying a house is the most expensive mistake most Americans will make in their lifetime. I'm not saying buying a house is a mistake. I'm saying buying a car you can't afford, you can get away with it. Getting some credit card debt, you can get away with it. Having a student loan, you can navigate through that. But getting a huge mortgage that you can't afford will kill you, and there's no way out. While I don't agree you should buy a house with less than 20% down, I also disagree that it should be on a 15-year mortgage. There is a better use for your money instead of freezing it into mortgage payments to get out faster. The reality is you want to be old and have the house paid for, like paid off. So for you, what's old? 70? Realistically, when you get to that age, the retirement age will be 70 and people will be living to be 85 or 90. So if you're buying your house at age 40 or less, you have no reason to pay it off earlier. I know Mr. Ramsey will hate me, but I don't think he's watching this video. Instead of paying all this extra money on a house that only appreciates 3% per year, better put it on an index fund that appreciates 8% per year. So in 30 years, you will have the house paid for and also a big account which has compounded for more than 30 years at an 8% return. Even if you were successful in your life or business and you tell me, Jaime, I have $500,000 on hand to buy a house, I will pay cash for it, just like Mr. Ramsey said. I will say, no, Don't freeze the money in a non-productive asset. Put 20% down, or 25 or 30, and then put the other amount, like 400K, in an index fund at an 8% return. Because in 30 years, your house is gonna be paid off, and you will have also like 4 million in the bank. Number 6, find ways to make more money. You're living in a perfect place to make money. Technology allows you to do something and everyone in the world can see it. You need to improve your marketing and sales skills. Working a miserable job that pays 50K is not gonna get you anywhere but to rent a crappy place, drive a crappy car, and live in a crappy life. No matter how perfect you are with money, if you never go out, you're the most boring person in the world. You never spend a cent. Your quality of life is not there making 50K. With this inflation, there's no way you can save that much money making 50K. You need to make more money and not trade more time for money, but create value to people. I mean, you have a job already. If you can change to a new one and get paid more, that's great. But don't get a second job or a third job. Create a business that can generate extra income on the side. One job is fine and one side hustle is necessary. Your life starts to get happier once you cross the $250,000 mark. That's the line for an investor to be considered accredited. Aim for that first, and once you get it, you can go for the full million. I hope this advice helps you, and it's more down to earth than listening to gurus tell you to pay everything in cash and stop eating and work 5 jobs, because you will live happier and start seeing money in your life. Of course, budgeting and paying off debt are important. I didn't mention them because they are a base to start with. But remember, take control of your life and take control of your money. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and found useful information, give me a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any one of my videos as soon as they come out. So have a great day. Don't lose any money, and I'll see you next time.